My mother convinced my girlfriend to marry my brother. She told her, "He is stronger and better for you." I was very broken and sad when I returned to see what had happened. But I moved out of the city to build my life. We reunited at my father's funeral, and when they saw my wife, their faces turned pale, because my wife was in the heart of Willow Creek, where the sun sets over the vineyards like a painter's final brushstroke. My family story unfolded. I am Daniel Thompson, the eldest son of George and Eleanor, and this is not just my tale, but a tapestry woven with the lives of those I hold dear. My father, George, was a man whose laughter could fill the room, his presence as robust as the oak trees that lined our property. His love for life was infectious, his stories legendary, each one a testament to his adventurous spirit. My mother, Eleanor, was different. Grace personified, her every move was calculated, her decisions always aimed at what she believed was best for us, her children. Then there was Michael, my younger brother. Strong, athletic, he was the embodiment of everything our mother admired. He was her pride, her joy, often overshadowing me with his natural charisma and physical prowess. But my heart, my dreams, they lay elsewhere. In the quiet corners of the local library, I met Sarah. Her eyes sparkled with ambition, her voice a melody of dreams and determination. We connected instantly, our conversations flowing like the nearby creek, our laughter mingling with the rustling of pages. It was as if we had known each other in another life, our bond forged not just in the present, but in the whispers of what could be. Yet, beneath the surface of this idyllic town, under the watchful eyes of my mother, a different narrative was being crafted. Eleanor, with her meticulous plans, saw in Michael a match for Sarah that would elevate our family's standing. What could possibly drive a mother to orchestrate such a betrayal? The answer, I would soon discover, was Daniel and Sarah's relationship, blossomed under the soft glow of Willow Creek's sunsets. We talked of travel, of building a life together away from the small-town constraints. Yet, as our love deepened, Eleanor's influence grew more pronounced. She began inviting Sarah over more frequently, under the guise of family dinners, where Michael's achievements were highlighted, his strength and potential praised. One evening, as I was away on a business trip, Eleanor sat Sarah down. "Sarah, dear," she began, her voice smooth like silk. "I've been thinking about your future. Michael, he's stronger, more stable. He could offer you a life of security, something Daniel might not be able to provide." Sarah, caught in the web of Eleanor's persuasive words, began to doubt her choices. She thought about the stability Eleanor promised, the comfort of a life with Michael, who was indeed a catch in many eyes. But then, she remembered the nights we spent under the stars, the way my laughter echoed hers, the dreams we shared of a life filled with adventure and passion. The next day, I returned from my trip, eager to see Sarah, but there was a distance, in her eyes, a hesitation in her touch. I could sense something was off. When I asked her about it, she confessed, "Your mother spoke to me, Daniel. She thinks Michael would be better for me. She painted a picture of a life I could have, one of ease and certainty." I felt a cold dread settle in my chest. "And what do you think?" I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. Sarah looked at me, her eyes searching mine. "I love you, Daniel, but I'm confused, Daniel. I need time to think." That was the last time I saw Sarah as the woman I loved. The image of her with Michael, a ring on her finger, shattered me. Eleanor's words echoed in my mind. "He is stronger and better for you." The betrayal was a knife twisting in my gut, and Willow Creek, once a haven, now held only painful memories. I left, seeking refuge in the anonymity of New York City. The city's relentless pace was a balm to my wounded heart. I threw myself into my work, letting the city's energy consume me. Years passed, and slowly I rebuilt my life. I met Emily at a gallery opening, her enigmatic smile drawing me in. She was supportive, her presence a gentle reminder that life could still hold beauty and mystery. Emily and I married in a quiet ceremony, the city skyline our witness. She was everything I needed at that time, her support unwavering, yet there was always an air of mystery about her. She spoke little of her past, and I respected her privacy, finding solace in our shared present. Meanwhile, back in Willow Creek, Sarah and Michael's marriage was one of convenience. It lacked the passion we once shared, their life together a series of calculated moves, orchestrated by Eleanor's vision of what should be. Sarah often found herself reminiscing about the nights we spent together, the dreams we whispered into the darkness. But those memories were now tainted with the reality of her choice. As the years went by, I occasionally thought of Sarah, wondering if she ever found the happiness Eleanor promised. But life in New York with Emily was good, filled with quiet dinners, art, and the comfort of knowing someone was there, even if parts of her remained a mystery. The secret Emily held, however, was one that would turn the tables at the funeral. But that's a story for another time, one that would unfold when the past and present collided in ways none of us could have predicted. As I stood there, the familiar scent of Willow Creek's earth mingling with the somber notes of the funeral, I felt the weight of years pressing down on me. The news of George Thompson's passing had brought me back to this place, a place I had sworn never to return. Emily's hand was in mine, her presence a silent strength as we approached the gathering. The townsfolk, their faces etched with the passage of time, turned to look at us. There was a palpable tension, a thick air of unresolved emotions hanging over us like the heavy clouds above. Sarah, now visibly aged by a life of compromise, her once vibrant eyes now dulled by the weight of her choices, offered a weak smile. Michael, still the epitome of physical strength, but with a hollow look in his eyes, nodded in acknowledgement. The reunion was as tense as I had feared. As the service concluded, Eleanor approached, her gaze sweeping over Emily with a mix of curiosity and disdain. "Daniel," she said, her voice as smooth as ever. "It's been too long. And who might this be?" "This is Emily, my wife," I replied, feeling the tension rise. Emily's grip tightened slightly, a subtle sign of her discomfort under Eleanor's scrutiny. Eleanor's eyes narrowed, a flicker of something unreadable passing through them. "Welcome, Emily," she said, her tone polite but cold. "It's quite the surprise to see Daniel back here and with such company." The words hung in the air, heavy with implication. I could feel Emily's confusion, her mind racing to understand the undercurrents of this family reunion. I had told her about my past, about Sarah and Michael, but the full depth of the betrayal, the orchestration by my own mother, was something I had kept veiled, a protective shield over my own heart. The moment was interrupted by a soft voice from behind us. "Daniel, it's good to see you." It was Sarah, her voice carrying the weight of years. She looked at Emily, her expression softening. "And this must be Emily. Daniel has told me so much about you." Emily smiled, a genuine warmth in her eyes. The reception after the funeral was where the drama unfolded. Eleanor, ever the hostess, was introducing Emily to the guests when someone mentioned her past. "Isn't Emily the one who—" Emily, with a serene smile, interrupted, "Yes, I am the one who was once engaged to Michael." The room fell silent. Sarah's face drained of color, Michael's eyes widened in shock, and Eleanor's composure cracked. Emily continued, "But I realized that love isn't about strength or stability. It's about understanding and support. Daniel gave me that when I needed it most, after Michael left me at the altar." The revelation hit like a thunderclap. Sarah's eyes met Daniel's, filled with regret and realization. The air was thick with unspoken words, the past echoing in the silence. I felt Emily's hand squeeze mine, a silent signal of support. I could see the wheels turning in Sarah's mind, the memories of our time together, the dreams we had whispered under the stars, now tainted by the choices made in the shadow of Eleanor's influence. Eleanor, her face a mask of controlled emotion, tried to regain her hostess demeanor. "Well, Emily, it seems you've had quite the journey," she said, her voice carrying a hint of forced warmth. Michael, standing beside Sarah, looked as if he'd been struck. His usual confident posture was replaced by a slouch, his eyes darting between Emily and me, trying to piece together this new reality. Sarah, her voice barely above a whisper, spoke up. "Emily, I didn't know. I'm so sorry." Her words were, laden with the weight of years, the regret of a life lived under the expectations of others. Emily, ever gracious, nodded. "Thank you, Sarah. It's all in the past now. Daniel and I have built a life together, one where we support each other through thick and thin." The tension in the room was palpable, each guest processing the revelation in their own way. Some whispered, others simply stared, their eyes moving from one face to another, trying to read the emotions playing out. I looked at my mother, Eleanor, whose eyes were now fixed on me, a storm brewing behind her calm facade. I knew she was calculating, trying to find a way to salvage her image, to regain control of the narrative that was slipping through her fingers like sand. In the days following the funeral, the dynamics within the Thompson family shifted dramatically. Sarah, now understanding the depth of her mistake, sought forgiveness from me. She approached me one evening, her eyes filled with tears. "Daniel, I was wrong. I let Eleanor's words cloud my judgment, and I've lived with the regret of that choice every day." I looked at her, seeing not the vibrant woman I once loved, but someone who had been shaped by years of compromise. "Sarah, I forgave you a long time ago," I said softly. "But forgiveness doesn't erase the past. It just allows us to move forward." Michael, confronted with his past actions, began to see the emptiness of his life with Sarah. He found me one afternoon, his usual bravado replaced by a somber reflection. "I never thought I'd say this, but I envy you, Daniel. You found something real with Emily. Sarah and I, we were just playing roles in a script written by someone else." Eleanor, for the first time, faced the consequences of her manipulations. Her control over the family was slipping, and with it, her influence. She approached Emily and me as we were preparing to leave Willow Creek, her demeanor softer than I had ever seen. "I was wrong, Daniel. I see now what true strength looks like," she admitted, her voice tinged with a rare vulnerability. I took a deep breath, feeling the weight of years of resentment and pain. "Love, Mom. That's the real strength," I replied, my voice steady but filled with the emotion of years past. Emily squeezed my hand, her support unwavering. "Eleanor, sometimes the hardest thing to do is to let go and let others find their own path," she added, her words gentle yet firm. As we packed our bags, ready to return to New York, Sarah and Michael watched us. There was a sense of closure. In the air, a quiet acknowledgement of paths taken and lessons learned. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment if you enjoyed this story.